Yeah, so fast forward, and then I wanted to, you know, teach here, so to give back, right? So I started teaching little things like watercolor and palette knife painting, because those are the two things I was known for. And I did that for a few years, and then 2 years before COVID hit, the main graphic designer here decided to move on to other things, and they were looking for someone, and I said, well, I'm full on to my full-time artist thing. I was at Globe Studios, I was painting all across Ontario, I was just having the time of my life. I said, okay, I want to help you guys out because I love this place so much, but I'm only going to do it part-time. They said, great, we'll take whatever we get. I ended up loving what we did here, all the programs that we did, giving back to the community, the events, being able to design a lot of really cool things. So when, I think just before COVID hit, I decided to become full-time, which, man, am I glad I did that, because when the shutdowns came, there were no more art shows. I couldn't show my art, couldn't sell my art. It was really hard. So I was really fortunate that I had, chosen 9 months ahead of time to take this full time, because there was a big staff turnover, right? And I said, well, you need someone here, and let me be in the office. So, and I absolutely love it here because I get to do really cool things. Like I've done virtual tours of this room here. This is Homer Watson's actual studio, so you can see his paintings. So if you go onto the webpage, which I maintain, but you can actually see and learn more about each individual painting and all that kind of stuff. Doing all sorts of really cool projects. So it really.
So this is really the Homer Watson original painting, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so the room that we're in right now is Homer Watson's studio, and it's kept intact. The main feature, well, outside of his paintings, of course, is the frieze at the top. So he hand-painted the names of all these artists that he admired, like Constable and Turner and all them, and did little paintings in their style, which is amazing, because if you look at the paintings, they are pretty accurate. And he did this in the early 1900s, before cell phones, before color photography really. So he's working from black and white photos probably, from old magazines, and remembering the colors from when he saw them live at the Louvre or something, like, or wherever they were. So he was in Europe for 3 years, so he managed to study a lot of stuff. So I thought that was pretty impressive, so we work hard to preserve that. And then, of course, all the modern gallery exhibitions for local artists and stuff. We promote that, and then the schools for both kids and adults and stuff. So it keeps you really busy, and you're always doing something creative.
So thank you so much for sharing. I'm saying that you're mostly into programs and things, and also into teaching here.
Well, so the Homer Watson House and Gallery itself makes most of its money from programming and events. We are a charity-run organization, so outside of the few grants that we get, we have to earn our money somehow. So programming is definitely a big thing. So we try to get a lot of local artists to come and instruct. So we have a lot of really talented artists that come in. I'm only like a blip on the radar of the number of artists that come in. So that's really good. Like we have spring camps and summer camps and winter camps for kids, but we also have a lot of adult classes. Like if you go on our website, you'll see so many very, really interesting things, like artists that will do things that is really cool. How do you do that? Oh, okay, well, come and I'll show you. So they'll do a workshop, or they'll do like a 6-week course or something. It's fantastic. So anybody can sign up, and it's very beginner friendly.
There you go. Pretty good. Thanks for sharing, man. I mean, people, you should check out the Homer Watson website. Pretty number of courses for adults and kids, from what Ralf said.
Yeah, it's homerwatson.on.ca.
There you go. All right, thank you for sharing that. So, another question I would like to ask you is, you are also a graphic artist, right? And I'm pretty sure that graphic artist is a high-paying job. And what
If you're not in charity, yes, sure.
So, like, there are a lot of technical people out there who are artistically inclined, but somehow they have to carry on with their daily jobs, monotonous job,
Yeah.
as a machine that crunch out designs, right? Nothing more than that. And it must be a very strong decision to move to art. And how did you handle it? Like,
Well, I'm trying to remember. So back in the early '90s, I was doing a little bit of painting, and then I was working in nightclubs. I was a bouncer, and
well, you're a bouncer too.
well, so in the nightclub industry, which I worked for 25 years, I've been a bouncer, bartender, waiter, light guy, DJ. I ended my career DJing.
A DJ too.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. I like to keep busy. I like finding all avenues of art to explore, right? So my family was really big into music. My dad was a choir conductor and an orchestra conductor. So we all learned music. Music has been a big part of all of our lives. Art was my major focus, but music is a big influencer on my art, right? So I will use music to guide where I want my art to go. If I'm trying to capture a certain mood, I will find the music that creates that mood, listen to it, and get in there, right? Because sometimes you don't have time to wait for that mood to hit you, right? Because what if you don't have your stuff with you at the time? So yeah, music will always do that. So in the '90s, because I was doing murals and stuff for nightclubs, and I was doing like all their chalkboard signs and stuff, I thought, well, this is kind of cool. And then the internet hit in the mid '90s, and a couple people asked, well, can you do a website for it? I'm going, never done it before, but sure, why not, right? So I learned on the spot. I've always been a person that can problem solve and figure it out, and especially with technology, I've figured it all out on my own. Like whether it's the Adobe Photoshop or web design stuff, I don't know, I'll figure it out. And it's all before YouTube too, right? So
Yeah.
So it was very much trial and error, and then I just got a bit of a reputation. So people ask me, oh, well, I'm opening up a restaurant. So popular restaurant around here, Ennio's Pasta House, was pretty big. When they first opened, I did their first menu. Just little things like that, and then you just grow and keep on going. And then eventually, I got a job at Sun Life Financial in their graphic design department, and I learned a lot there about corporate design, which is very different than doing like DJ posters and rock and roll type stuff. But here, I absolutely love doing the graphic design because I own it, right? Because I want this place to succeed so much that I will put everything I have into it, and I will always find ways to make sure that the branding is on par and elevate everything I can, right? Like make everything look sophisticated and not look, for lack of a better term, amateur, because I want people to respect this place forever, right? So, and to get notoriety out there, because a lot of people don't know about us, right? We're a little hard to find. Not everybody knows where we are or who we are. So, awareness is a big issue. So, branding and all that kind of stuff, but being part of that and being able to create it and maintain it, because I've been here now, for 5-6 years, so I feel like I am part of this place now, right? Graphically, like when you go through like everything on the website and all the pamphlets, the brochures, all the signage, everything, like my hand is there, right? My fingerprints are everywhere. So
it's pretty good to know. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I pretty much agree to what you said, and I think the committee here, the Homer Watson committee, is pretty good with letting artists be what they are, and I think that's pretty respectful, and that's the most candid thing ever I've heard, and it's pretty lucky to be here.
Oh yeah,
working here in that case.
Oh, it's fantastic. So I've had a couple great bosses, and they've had the willingness to just let us be ourselves and come to them with projects. So I had two really cool, awesome projects that I really love. So the first one was a Homer Watson coloring book, an activity book. So adult coloring books were kind of a little big. So I took Homer Watson paintings and I redrew them digitally, right? So, and I'll just as black and white drawings. And then every page, on one page will be a Homer Watson painting. And then on the other side will either be some information or an activity of some sort. So it's fun for both adults and kids, right? And so there's a little bit of history, there's some fun stuff to do, and then you get to learn about the paintings and in your own way. And then a year later, we wanted to, well, let's do something for Phoebe, because Homer's sister Phoebe is the ghost that haunts this place here.
Well, hang on. There's a ghost here?
Yes. Yeah. Phoebe Watson is an artist in her own right. She was Homer's sister. You don't need to worry, she's a friendly ghost. She helps out a lot. But I wanted to honor her because one, she was an artist and she was the first curator. So she really
Homer Watson.
Yeah, so she really promoted his work after he died. So I did a comic book of Phoebe Watson. Full color, I did it all digitally. Again, using my iPad, drawing everything, which was a big learning curve because I'd never used this material before. And I actually fell in love with it. And now I do a lot of illustrations this way using digital art. And it sparked a brand new avenue of where I can take my creativity. So
that's pretty good. You know what? I heard stories about the ghost called Phoebe here too, but it's just a story, right?
No. My first encounter was when I was
Wait. You met Phoebe
many times. Many times.
Is she here right now?
I can't say for sure. I can't say for sure.
Okay.
I will say you don't see Phoebe a lot, right? It's very rare when you feel her presence or other ghost presence. There have been other ghosts that dwell here once in a while.
There are more ghosts?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it is one of the attractions of the house, but you know it's not a big deal.
You just need to hold it.
No, you're fine. So like I said, she likes to help out. So sometimes you'll be let's say in the gallery, and there is no paper or anything around it, which is her medium of trying to talk to you. You can be in the gallery, there's a lot of paintings, but let's say people are commenting on all these paintings, but there's one painting in particular that just keeps, nobody notices for some reason. And you'll come in one day, there's a piece of paper on the floor right there, as if Phoebe is saying, well, don't forget about this one. This one's important too. Or this is the one that I like, or something like that. Other times, well, this is a good one. So the collections room, which is upstairs, which was her old bedroom, they were looking for...
she used to stay here?
Yeah. Yeah. So one, Homer's wife, Roxa, died in 1912, I believe. Phoebe moved in to help take care of their adopted daughter, Mary. So Homer and Phoebe lived here together, and this brother and sister, and just, eventually they both died here. But so she has as much claim to this house as anyone else. But again, she loves taking, helping out with paper information. I guess that's the way she manifests herself, with a couple of exceptions, which I'll get to. So they were looking for the name of the store that she worked at and who owned it in Galt. Like she used to work at an art store down in Cambridge back in the early 1900s. They knew they had it somewhere, they couldn't find it anywhere. So for days they were trying to find it. The collections team comes in, opens the door, and on the floor is a newspaper article in the early 1900s, like a clipping, that should have been in a folder, in a box, in the cabinet, that is always locked. It is just that single piece of paper.
Sure, we heard that you're an actor also. Can you tell us how that happened?
Yeah, so it was purely an incident where I was really shy, and I knew I needed to get out of that. So I took a class at Conestoga College called Acting Out, Breaking Out of Your Shell or something like that. And it was a bunch of exercises to boost your self-confidence, find your personality, that kind of thing. And the teacher was really good. He was an actor, I think from Stratford Festival, and he really inspired me to get into acting itself. And I thought, okay, this is like fun. So he steered me to KW Little Theater, where I did a play called Mort by Terry Pratchett, and I played 8 different parts along with 7 other people. So we were a group of 8. We all had 8 parts, so it was a lot of costume changes, a lot of different characters that you had to portray. So you really had to find your sense of self and be comfortable being all these different people. But then I met all these actors and I thought, oh, this is a cool vibe, I absolutely love it. So I thought, it's a great place to pick up chicks too. So I thought, all right, let's do this. So I committed myself, did my next play, and it was Rapunzel Uncut, where I was a biker, red mohawk, sporting like all biker apparel, leather chaps, all that kind of stuff. And my wife was, or my now wife, was a backstage stage manager, and she saw me, fell in love, came to a house party, you know, the sparks flew, and I said, well, I found the girl, I don't need to come back. So, so I kind of dropped out of theater for a little bit. I did a little bit of set design and stuff, which was really great because I get to use my artistic skills in that way. But yeah, I got the girl right away. So
you want to say your wife cut you off from the theater?
no, actually. So lately we've been watching old this TV show called Slings and Arrows with Paul Gross, Canadian actor. I think it was filmed in Toronto, based off of Stratford Festival. And she's also thinking, oh, maybe I want to get back into stage management, and I'm thinking, oh, maybe I want to get back into acting and stuff. But we're looking at our life, and we know what the energy that's involved with that, so we're like, well, we might do it, but I don't know. Because I do other acting as well with Robin in the Hood, Medieval Festival in Elmira. So every beginning of June, there's a huge medieval festival, Robin Hood themed. And I've played everything from the King of the Vikings, who come and invade every 5 years. I've played outlaws. I've played the King's Torturer. I'm a bit typecast, you can't tell. But you know, you have to play all these little things, and then you have like Education Day, where you put on plays for grade 4 kids who come in because they learn about medieval history, and we teach them, you know, little things here and there, and then it's just a fun time, you know, for the whole family to come out. So.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Ralf, so much for sharing the stories of Phoebe and Homer Watson, what you do, and I think it's been a great encouragement for a lot of people here. And I know a society where everybody is running after money and you don't know what to do if you're artistically inclined, giving them a lot of options and a place to come and meet you personally too.
Yeah, for sure.
So, just one final question. What is art according to you? And I ask this question to every artist. What is art?
What is art? That's a big question. Okay. Art, to me, art is intent. You can't just randomly throw stuff off and, oh, you make art. Yeah, you can get lucky and it can happen, but I think art is intent. Whether you actually accomplish what your intention was is not the goal. But you have to put something in. Whether you want to tell a story, whether you're experimenting with color, texture, you know, if you're an abstract artist and you are throwing paint down in some random way, what was the intent? Is that your intent to see what happens? That's your intent. Intent can be anything, but you have to put yourself into it. So if the artist doesn't put something in, the viewer doesn't get anything out. Right? It's true. It doesn't matter what style, whether you're an illustrator, hyperrealism, impressionist, expressionist, you have to put yourself in the painting for someone to get something out. And to me, that's what art is. It's your little piece of story, that story of that moment in time, of what was your story, that exact moment, right? Like I have many different styles. So sometimes my story is literally a story I'm illustrating, or it's the story of my hiking through the brambles to get to a place that most people can't get to because I love backcountry hiking. Or it could be, I just need to vent because I had a bad day, so my palette knives are out and I'm just like sliding paint down and it's emotional and visceral and okay, there's the intent. I was venting. skiing, right? Whatever your intent is, show your intent.
There you go, people. So a lot of insight,
Yeah.
and I think that we have learned so much from you, Ralf, today. Thank you so much for your
No,
time.
thank you.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity to be here and shoot you the Home Watson Hall itself. I appreciate that and really appreciate everything and wish you all the best for your future endeavors.
Thanks, you as well.
Thank you guys. Thank you.